Hello everyone. Found another interesting question on the forum today. Someone's asking about turn on and off a field on the nCloth. I'll just read through because it's short question. He's asking, I would like to turn on and off the volume axis field on several nCloth during simulation. Is there an attribute for this purpose? Should I add a node to control this variation? So he provided a screenshot, and as you can see, there's one volume axis that controls a lot of nCloth objects. So the first thing I thought was, okay, well, let's try it out. I think I have some ideas. So yeah, let's jump in, and then I'll show you what I have discovered. I feel like this is more of self-study. I never really had to do this before, but it's definitely interesting. So I have a flag set up here, and I'm going to quickly just make it nCloth. So that will be the pole, that will be a passive collider, and gonna add, oops. We'll do, let's say, point to surface. Should be good. Then I'm gonna change the color. Okay, so the first thing I thought was that for nCloth there's aerodynamic settings, meaning there's lift, drag, tangential drag. If you turn off the lift and drag, then in theory there will be no wind. So the first thing I did was I tested out. And so yeah, let's basically try to, let's try to do this real quick. So I know the cloth is working. Now we're gonna add a little bit of wind. I just do 50, right? Okay, so I see the wind. We both see the wind here. Then let's go back to the cloth, and we'll turn off the lift and the drag, right? And check it out. There's no wind, basically, because what we're saying is this cloth has no value for lift and drag to be affected. So when you think about that, like whatever the dynamic that we give or the fields multiplied by 0, it's going to be 0. But here's the interesting thing that I saw was, okay, so then now let's turn off the wind here. And let's add volume axis, what this guy was using. So we'll do volume axis. I will put it somewhere here. And don't do all the way from center. And also, whoops. Do along the axes. I think maybe that's good enough. So as you can see, the volume axis encompassed of the cloth. So now remember, our lift is still 0. And last time we tried this, turn on the nucleus wind, there was no effect. So now I'm going to turn on, well, I'm just going to apply it. So we have magnitude of 5, and maybe we'll just do a little bit of turbulence, a lot of speed, maybe some frequency, let's say 15, and then, so what you're telling me is, well, what Maya is telling us is that when you use a volume axis, it doesn't care about the lift and drag. It just simply, I guess, it's just kind of act as a deformer. And so if we go back to the question again. He's saying if there's a way, on these cloth parameters that you can just turn on and off. So the first thing obviously I thought about was the lift and drag. So now that we know the lift and drag doesn't work, then what else that we can use, right? Because I think what he really wants is like maybe blowing the leaves or something like that, and then there's a certain part that just outside of the wind area. And I suppose we can do something like attenuation, which you have here. If it's like really high, then that means it's gonna kind of cut in. So how do I explain this? The way I see it is like higher the number, it eats into the center of the volume axis. So as you can see, there's more push towards this area, well, I guess maybe towards this area, and then less towards the outside. Oops. Let's get back to this. So, okay, but when you have a lot of object, it's really kind of tricky that you don't want to animate this volume axis and to be really big, and maybe you do want that control. And so after trying a bunch of stuff, my recommendation was to basically make it one volume axis per cloth object. I know it seems kind of redundant because that's a lot of work just trying to do these type of control, but I guess I'll be curious what Houdini or maybe some other cloth solver works like. Maybe they do a little bit better in terms of Houdini or Vellum. But yeah, for Maya and nCloth, it's too bad. So literally you will need to kind of put the volume axis along with the object, or maybe you kind of scale up quite a bit, in terms of size, and then you'll animate the magnitude from whatever the value to 0. So I think that's really the only thing I can think of. If you guys know any other good solution, let me know. I mean, I think he did kind of mention maybe add a node in between. You could do that. Obviously, that takes a little bit of scripting, and you got to connect it. You could do some sort of, I guess maybe a blend node or some sort. But I think that's probably. I just feel that's a little bit too much, and then you will have to kind of expose those channels into maybe like somewhere here in the channel box, and then you can control bunch of them together. You add it to like a locator or a control. But yeah, again, I just thought it's kind of interesting study. Maybe for someone that might have to do this in the future, just kind of be aware. Before you set up your scenes, might have to be careful of how much control you need, and what you going to decide which type of wind that you're going to use. Let's just say if had he used Maya native nucleus wind, I mean, I guess the volume axis is also native, but if he was using the nucleus wind, he could have just animate the lift and the drag. That would have been really easy. Although I do feel the lift and the drag will probably affect how the object fall. Let's say, if the leaf falling from the sky or from the air, so that could potentially change the look as well. But yeah, anyway, it's an interesting question, but I think it was fun for me to know, and maybe fun for you guys to find out as well. But yeah, so that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for join me, and yeah, let me know what you think. If you have let's say a better solution, feel free to comment below. All right, so that would be it. Take care. Bye bye.